1. Here we go. Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic lesson known classics. This is episode number 3197 and double number 3091. I have 2 DC trades, both of whom feature books that are written by Neil Adams. Well, basically also are these books. First of which we have Batman Dying City. And as you see by the logo, this is actually the very first trade I'm reviewing. That's from the All In Initiative. Which, I gotta say, so far, almost 1 year in, this initiative has been a lot of fun. Well, with the exception of Flash and Wonder Woman. With the exception of those two, mostly put DC's been having all bangers, basically, with all the material. And Batman, I think, is doing pretty well. Despite the fact the Hush, basically... Bless you! Apparently, Hush 2 is not... That actually came next after this. Apparently, Hush 2 is not being received very well. Despite the fact it's done by the same people who did the first one, which I don't understand that at all. So, Dying City. This is the final story arc of Chip Zdarsky's run. And here's something a little weird about this run, this particular arc, which, by the way, this book collects issues 153, 157, and the lead story from 150 from Batman Volume 3. So... these issues took a while to come out. Basically, like, these issues were actually skip months. Now, the reason I had heard of the reason why this book took so long for these issues to come out, because prior to this, they came all on time. But this very story arc is the first time ever that I've seen for Batman since I'm reading it and reviewing it, that this book was actually delayed. And there was a reason for that. Wasn't Chip's fault. As a matter of fact, Chip was not happy about him leaving the title. He apparently went on Twitter and said he was not happy being relieved this title. He was not happy about this at all. No, he was not. I'm sure he probably enjoyed his time Batman, but like Jeremy Adams, he wasn't happy with leaving. But Jeremy Adams had a bit of a long... I think if I remember correctly, I think that Jeremy Adams had... I think Jeremy Adams has slightly longer run in his book than Chip Zdarsky and Batman. Chip Zdarsky was in his book for over 2 years. Yeah, I think he started with issue, I think it was like 127. Yeah, we're here with 157. 30-issue run. Actually, like a 31-issue run, basically about 2.5 years. But, of course, these issues were delayed. And the reason why they were delayed was because of Jim Lee. And why was that, you might ask? Why was it delayed because Jim Lee? Because Jim Lee has this reputation of taking his sweet time releasing artwork. That's the reason why. And I spoke to you about this. Brian Azzarello himself told me this. The last book he worked on that came out on time, he did the artwork for, was Superman for Tomorrow. A book that came almost 20 years ago. So, what is Dying City, you might ask? Well, we have some interesting things here. Basically, Chip, by the way, we also have Tony S. Daniel, Carmen DeMachico, Jorge Finis, Dennis Cohen, and Jorge Jimenez on the artwork. The cover is Jorge Jimenez and Tamara Moore, who's the colorist. By the way, Dying City, it is roughly a 5-part story arc. Yes, it's 5 parts. Not bad length per se. So, we see people complain about being cold. And then we see apparently like Batman and Jim Gordon just having coffee on a rooftop. And apparently the Riddler has been released from prison. So, and then apparently, like, the mayor doesn't like it very much because of zero year. So he is released because of a technicality. So he's not happy. And apparently, after chatting with a guy named Leland, so So basically, because the fact the mayor is a workaholic, his wife is leaving him. He cares, he doesn't want to talk right now. Yes, so, and then we see Nigmatech. Oh, and by the way, his company is all about Bitcoin. Yep, his whole company is based about Bitcoin. And somehow, apparently, Batman kind of gave a little of a loan to basically invest into this particular company. Yep. So yeah, this is where she's leaving him. I can't deal with my depression. I'm also with my husband who's cold most days, angry and rest. I can't be the mayor's wife anymore. I'm gonna take leave of century and stay with my mother. He needs some happiness. And Chris, listen to me. Yeah. So, and then of course, for some weird reason, protesters are thinking that Bruce Wayne is a communist. Oh, and here's something. Apparently, it's kind of built in here that he got his fortune back. Yes, Bruce Wayne got his fortune back. Yep, for some reason he got his fortune back. He's got his company back. The CEO of his company is still here. She's been, I think she debuted like almost 10 years ago, I think she did. I think it was the pages of Batman. I think it was previous one. We have Nigma do his own thing. We have some criminals. And then we have this new guy, Star. Oh, by the way, yeah, it's revealed who he is. I'll get to that. And, of course, the guy is shot by Star, who doesn't like what he's doing. He doesn't like using firing gun on the streets in broad daylight. And then Vandal Savage shows up. Yes, Vandal Savage is the commissioner of the GCPD. For those of you curious, this happened just prior to the story. Yes, somebody in DC Comics is going to take a Alan Scott villain, Vandal Savage, a man who's been enemy of the JSA and the Justice League, and make him the commissioner of the GCPD. Yep. And of course, basically, the mayor is not happy with this at all. He basically wants him. He basically is like, do your job. Not having weaponized in the street. We reach our limit. We should probably go. Officers, arrest Batman for his many crimes. And he basically drops smoke bomb. He gets away. And of course, Nico's like, I'm done with this crap, Savage. Absolutely done. Tomorrow, State Council, I'm bringing in motion to fire your ass. Mr. Starr, I know we just met, but I believe it's TV to wherever. I couldn't agree more. Yep, so, and then, okay, I look at this woman, they say this is supposed to be Leslie Tompkins. I'm like, did they redesign her? Because I could have sworn she looked a little different in this. Yes, they claim this woman here is Leslie Tompkins. I get the fact that it's supposed to be her free clinic. Fine. But, last time I checked, she doesn't look like this at all. Yes, claiming this is Leslie Tompkins is weird. So then, of course, basically, we have Bruce Wayne, the Riddler, and the mayor just doing their own things. And then the issue ends with the mayor shot dead. Oh, he's dead. He stays dead. He does not get revived at all. He's still currently deceased. Mitch, oh, do you have a brother? Oh, you mean basically Lincoln March? Oh, wait, he's dead. Period of animosity briefly brought him back to kill him off in a prologue to Joker War. So, yeah, Mayor's dead. And Bullock, I believe, is working with the GCPD or back in a police force. Who's responsible for this? Well, yep, so then of course his wife is questioned, obviously. But yeah. then we have those sort of... And then for some reason, I'm not sure why this is. So after Batman shows up, beats people up. So apparently, Leland is apparently the new leader of the Court of Owls. And you're like, wait a minute. Weren't these guys shut down a while ago? Yes, for some weird reason, despite the fact some writers have attempted to shut down this organization of comics, they keep coming back like they're freaking cockroach. I mean, yeah, Scott Snyder did a great job creating these people. I love the Court of Owls. Don't get me wrong. It's one of the best organizations. It's one of the most greatest additions to Batman comics in the last 20 years. It is awesome. But the constant rehashing of the Court of Owls, like, some might think that their peak was probably Night of Owls, which I kind of agree with that. I would say they're probably a loose follow-up to it. I can say you can throw Endgame in there. But after that, it's like, okay, so they kind of shut down the Parliament in the pages of Nightwing, despite this is set up in Robin War. And now they're back again. So yeah. So yeah, then he leaves. So then of course he goes see the mayor, looks at him, the examination. Looking at basically can't leave fingerprints on him because Bat wears gloves. So then he's talking to the CEO. And apparently a new conspiracy. Wayne Enterprises murdered the mayor. And I'm like, I read it, I'm like, okay, number one, what does Wayne Enterprise benefit from killing the mayor? Answer, nothing. Like, as far as I can tell, Bruce Wayne did not see him as a threat to his company. The mayor, take over the government. Yeah, this sounds so freaking stupid. And once again, we see Leslie Tompkins. I'm like, I thought she was an older lady. It's like, why is her hair black for? Because I remember always seeing her in the comic where she's like, you know, lady with gray hair, not with black hair. I'm thinking that this is probably editorial, probably telling the artist, hey, can you draw Leslie Tompkins to be an older version of Monica Bellucci from Gotham? Because it's kind of what she is here. And of course, for some weird reason, people think that Bruce Wayne is a communist. Helping the destruction of Gotham, like... And, like, yes. I'll put you in hospital for a month to give you a hospital bill clearly you want. And then Stark goes up, beats the crap out of people. Yeah. And then we have this... I gotta admit, this actually is a really good shot on the artist. Batman standing in front of the Batman... Oh, this was so cool. He goes visit basically the crime scene with Gordon. And then, of course, apparently, like... He's pointing a gun at Batman, and of course he's knocked out. Yep. And the cover of 155 shows, oh crap, the Court of Owls are back. Yep, apparently they are. Yeah, and the whole thing with Gordon and Bullock being prime investigators, this was, believe it or not, set up in the pages of Ram V's Detective Comics. Yep, I'm fine with this. It's perfectly fine. It serves what it needs. So then basically... Oh, and also it's revealed in here that Jim Gordon had an affair with the mayor's wife. Now, some people are thinking, wait a minute, isn't he married? No. Not currently. He is divorced/widowed. Because his first wife divorced him, and his second wife basically died. Yep. And the current theory is that that he murdered the mayor because he found out that, Jim was having an affair with a man's wife. So then we have a flashback to the Waynes, where apparently Bruce Wayne had a nightmare. Yeah. And then for some weird reason, we have Batman drawn like he's from 1939 with this design. Like, what in the world? It's like, yeah, they examine all the evidence. He could get him out of there, beats some cops, and now apparently Gotham City is now a war zone. And apparently things want to get Wayne Enterprises. They have Batman beating up a bunch of Enigma security. And then he just randomly runs into the Mad Hatter. Okay. Interesting. Weird enough, Zdarsky never did a Mad Hatter arc. That would have been cool. Because I love Mad Hatter. He's a great character. It just means like the only writer who did an arc featuring Mad Hatter as main villain for is Greg Hurwitz for Batman Dark Knight. And then we have the Court of Owls show up. And of course there's a bomb. And then we have Jim Gordon. Basically, it's like, you couldn't arrest me, ex-commissioner. And he proceeds to beat the crap out of Enigma for a bit. And then all of a sudden we have Enigma's bodyguard. This big muscular woman named Rhonda, who briefly subdues Jim Gordon, though he's able to basically overtake her. And he takes Jim Gordon takes Enigma out. And Leland tries to leave. Yep. And then it's revealed at the end, in the penultimate issue of 56, that Star is actually longtime Batman villain KG Beast, the same man who in this continuity shot Dick Grayson in the head. Who, by the way, was in prison after he was after Nightwing came back as Nightwing. Dick Grayson came back as Nightwing. He went after him as payback, and he beat him. So I'm like, okay. Yeah. And then you have basically Batman dealing with all this air stuff, and then of course Leland's here, and Commissioner's like, all units, Batman's hot and get like a belated order. All of our soldiers are needed as a protest. Batman says draw away from that. Orders from your Commissioner. And Bullock's like, screw Savage, let's roll. Yeah, he's ignoring him because he doesn't like Vandal Savage. And then of course you have Batman like firing machine guns off on top of a big plane. Yes, brings it down on the streets of Gotham, takes on basically KG Beast. Jim Gordon is nearly falling off a building, lucky he's saved, and of course beats the crap out of Star. He basically takes some spikes, and then he nearly kills him, but lucky enough he's stopped. So then of course Star is arrested. He's free to go. Yep. Yeah. And of course Leslie gets a car, and Jim apparently starts working back with the GCPD because Bullock doesn't want to do with him at all. And the book ends with him basically off, and he's smiling, but no smoke this time. And now we're going to the lead story from Batman 150, which Zdarsky did write. And this is weird though with this story, because this story features stuff relates to Cobblepots. I would have thought though this story would be featured in the Penguin trade paperback, but no, they feature it here because Zdarsky wrote it. Which begs the question, why wasn't this featured in the last trade? That's a really good question. Why this story was featured there. It's basically all about the Cobblepots and their relationship with Batman. A little bit. Yeah, that's kind of what the story is. We even see briefly Mr. Freeze here. I love the artwork here. We even see Scarecrow. Yes, Scarecrow. It's called Be Better. Doz Cohen and Jorge Jimenez basically artwork. So, this is the end of Zdarsky's time on the book. Yep. Really interesting book. I enjoy this. I give this roughly a 9 out of 10. Final thoughts on Chip Zdarsky's run on Batman. When I initially heard he was taking over Batman, I'm like, okay, you have me interested. I know that his Daredevil work has basically not been well received because, well, there was a line. A friend of mine basically dropped the book because he put a line in the book. I don't know if this was his idea or his editor's, where a black prisoner at a prison Daredevil was at, where he needs to enact his white privilege. And he didn't like that line so much, he dropped the book. Zdarsky had a very weird time with Daredevil, and, well, believe it or not, he was writing Daredevil, toward, I think it was already the end of his first volume, they started writing this book. I actually really enjoyed this run for Batman. It is not a terrible run, per se. I don't get, now, here's something really weird, though. During this run, now the first arc, it's top of the sales charts. And then when the second arc came out, it dropped in sales. The rumor was because Jorge Jimenez was taken off the title for the next story arc, Batman of Gotham. Because of that slip in sales, so I guess they brought him back for the book, and he did the book from that point forward, and he didn't skip the book ever again. Because people love Jorge Jimenez's artwork, and he did a fantastic job with this book. Yes. Do I agree with Chip Zdarsky's opinion that he should not be taking the book? Well, it seems like he put all stops in here. It's like, yeah, we undid something that some writers did with this last one. But also, if we saw the original cover for these books, DC started doing something quite unusual with this book. They put legacy numbers in the covers. Yes. Yes, they did. Not sure why, but they did. Of course, next is coming Hush 2, obviously. And next, after that story is concluded, according to a rumor I heard, I don't know if this is really true, according to rumor, this book is set to be, well, have its numbering rebooted after Hush 2. Don't know the reason for this, where for the first time in 9 years we have a brand new one for Batman. After this book has been going on for, like I said, 9 years, over 160 issues, that much. It is DC's longest, it has the highest number of issues, this for a book. Second highest is Nightwing. Third highest is Catwoman. And fourth highest is Harley Quinn. Because Bat books, these sell really well. And these are the books that weren't restarted or restructured with numbering. That's kind of the books are. But next, basically, we have a Batman-related book. We have Dead Man, Book 2. I haven't got Book 1. So, we have Neil Adams and Bob Haney, Robert Kanigher, and Denny O'Neil on the writing. Neil Adams, George Acosta on the artwork. This book contains... Now, I'm going to skip over talking about Brave and the Bold 79 and the Aquaman issues. And Brave and the Bold 86 because it's got previously already. But this book also contains Strange Adventures 214, 216, along with Challenge Unknown, number 74. Yes, from what I've read, these three issues here, 214, 216, are his last issues. Now, Neil Adams does the art for all the issues in this book. The only books that he does, now, Bob Haney does, well, of course, the first one here. Rob Kanigher does 214, and 215, Neil Adams does 215, 216. Bob Haney comes back, does 86 for Brave and the Bold. The Dead Man stories from Aquaman 5052 are written and drawn by Neil Adams. And 74 is written by Danny O'Neil. The cover art is done by Neil Adams. He's the cover of all the books. And this is the only book where actually he co-starred with George Acosta. Like I mentioned, skipping over issue number, this is Brave and Boldish because Acosta's previous story. We're going to talk about Brave and Bold Volume 1. Little fun fact, Strange Adventures was the very first comic that Deadman made his debut in. Strange Adventures was just a sci-fi book that for some reason became a horror book. And you have Deadman, started with issue 214, where he's like yelling at the crowd, "Listen to me! I don't walk past it like a piece of sliced wind." They can't hear them. Yeah. But I'm going to have to stop right here because separate. Lucknow basically was able to get to this book here. So I'll discuss that next. Okay?